In the endless void of space, where even the closest stars are mere pinpricks of light, a lone deep space probe drifted silently through the darkness. It had been traveling for decades, a relic of humanity's insatiable curiosity, when its sensors picked up something impossible. A structure. Not an asteroid, not a rogue planet, but something vast and artificial. At first, the data seemed corrupted, an immense shell encasing a dying red star, a construct that should not exist. A Dyson Sphere, a theoretical megastructure designed to capture the full energy output of a star, was now a cold, looming reality. The probe attempted to send a signal back to Earth, but something interfered. Its systems glitched, its transmissions were garbled, and then, before it could complete its scan, it simply ceased to function. No explosion, no impact, just silence. The last fragment of data it managed to send was a single, eerie transmission, an oscillating frequency that, when filtered, sounded almost like a whisper. It repeated itself 3 times before cutting off completely. The message was barely noticed at first, dismissed as cosmic noise, but when analysts decrypted part of it, they found something terrifying. It was not just random static. It was language, and it was not human. The United Earth Federation knew they had to act. A classified mission was assembled, a deep space expedition aboard the UEF Artemis, one of humanity's most advanced exploratory vessels. The crew, a team of elite scientists, engineers, and exoarchaeologists, departed with a singular purpose: to study the Dyson Sphere, determine its origins, and uncover who, or what, had built it. As they approached the structure, excitement quickly turned to unease. The sphere was not abandoned. Its surface was still intact, its systems still functional. It was not just old, it was ancient beyond comprehension, yet still humming with energy. As the Artemis drew closer, the anomalies began. Their star maps no longer aligned. The ship's atomic clocks began running out of sync, seconds stretching and shrinking unpredictably. At first, they thought it was an error, but then they saw it: movement. Shadows flickering across the surface of the sphere, far too large and structured to be simple debris. Something was still inside. Something was still active. Against all logical caution, the crew initiated a landing sequence, aiming for what appeared to be a massive access port. As they approached, the sphere responded. The gateway split open like the petals of a colossal, metal flower, inviting them inside. No transmission, no response to their hails, just an opening, waiting for them. It was not an abandoned ruin. It was a trap that had been waiting for a visitor. Inside, they found an artificial world unlike anything in human history. Skies illuminated by shifting bands of energy, entire cities suspended in zero gravity, structures that defied physics itself. But the most disturbing sight was at the heart of it all: a monolithic structure, dark and pulsating, as if alive. It was ancient, its surface inscribed with symbols that no one could recognize. And yet, when one of the crew members, Lieutenant Darnell, reached out and touched it, something impossible happened. Darnell collapsed instantly, his body convulsed, his breathing slowed, and when his eyes snapped open, they were no longer his own. They had turned completely white, reflecting nothing, like twin voids in his skull. When he spoke, it was in a voice that was not his own, a layered, echoing sound that resonated through the air itself. The words made no sense at first, but then the ship's AI began translating the patterns. The message was simple and terrifying: "You do not understand. You should not have come." The crew scrambled to revive Darnell, but the moment they broke contact, the monolith began to change. Its surface rippled, like liquid metal disturbed by an unseen force. The ground beneath them trembled, and the entire structure groaned as if awakening from a deep slumber. Then came the second message. This time, it was not spoken, it was felt, pressing into their minds like a thought not their own. "I was not the prisoner. I was the guard." Panic set in. The crew rushed back to the Artemis, desperate to leave, but the sphere resisted. Doors that had been open now sealed shut. Artificial gravity twisted unpredictably. Some corridors became weightless while others increased gravity tenfold. Time itself distorted, with some crew members appearing to flicker in and out of existence. What had been a mission of discovery had become a desperate escape from something beyond their comprehension. The monolith's pulse grew faster, brighter, its energy readings spiking off the charts. The star within the Dyson Sphere, once dim and dying, suddenly flared to life, its radiation levels rising exponentially. Something was happening. The Artemis barely managed to reinitiate its launch sequence, burning its engines at full thrust, forcing its way out of the structure's gravitational pull. As they fled, the crew watched in horror as the entire Dyson Sphere began to collapse. The once perfect megastructure shuddered and cracked, its panels folding inward as if being devoured by the very star it had encased. Then, in a final, violent burst of light, it was gone, sucked into the gravity well of the collapsing star, vanishing into nothingness. For a moment, there was silence. Relief. They had escaped. But that relief was short-lived. The ship's sensors detected something new. A change in the fabric of space itself. The whispers had not stopped. The interference had not ended. Whatever had been locked inside that prison was no longer confined. It had been set free. Back on Earth, deep space observatories soon picked up anomalies across the galaxy. Stars flickering unnaturally, gravitational waves with no discernible source, entire systems where the laws of physics seemed to bend in ways no one could explain. The universe had changed in a way that no human mind could fully grasp. Something was moving in the darkness, something that had been caged for longer than time itself. The crew of the Artemis never spoke of what they had truly seen. Official reports dismissed the Dyson Sphere as an unstable structure, destroyed before it could be fully studied. But the surviving crew knew the truth. They had not just found an alien structure. They had not just uncovered the ruins of an ancient civilization. They had unwittingly opened a door that was never meant to be unlocked. And now, something on the other side was looking for them.